right, hoping I didn't break anything. The camera is just barely not sides, son of a gun. So close to having a perfect opening. Nothing's muted. My audio should be good. Hopefully we're coming through loud and clear to you guys in chat. And I gotta say a quick good morning to you all, of course. We're getting here into the second group day, aptly named Group A, even though it's playing second. Got a lot of good players competing today in the other half of the 2v2 tournament. Keep in mind, we have the grand finals that are still scheduled for the end of the month. But, oh, sorry, Lone Wolf. I messed up your countdown timer. That's my bad. But, yeah, so we've got 4 great teams. 8 players in total competing today. We have the, I'm going to maybe wrongly call them the underdogs, but we have the 2v2 pros with Practice X and Larry, probably the least known players out of the group today. That's not such a bad thing, though. The other teams competing are pretty good, though. We got Hearthstone and a Laser. I think yesterday you and I favored them to be the first team out of the group, first place today. Then we got Optimus and uThermal, and Denver, and Clem. So a team of Frenchies and a team of Dutchies, and then a team of Hearthstone and a Laser. Good morning, Zombie Grub. How are you doing this day?
Hello. I feel pretty good, actually. How are you?
I decided to try some more of Dodger's coffee, and I wanted to be like a man and do what like the people at her work do, and that was a mistake. So about an hour ago, if you guys remember the interview, she was telling me like, oh yeah, some guys at my work, they just like, they shoot it just like straight out of the bottle. I'm like, I'll just take like a big swig like I'm taking NyQuil. It is not the same. Not even in the littlest bit.
Did you drink coffee without creamer?
I just drank that shit straight, man. Oh wait, what, the first time? Or what?
Yeah, isn't it the second time you tried coffee?
Yeah, so when I did it for the coffee stream, it was just like coffee and ice and a little bit of milk, and it was okay.
Oh god. Oh, okay. You put some milk in it. I mean, that's creamer, milk, whatever.
Yo, this cold brew stuff though is hella concentrated, and I would not recommend drinking straight from the bottle. I'm probably gonna be wired as fuck today. I'm probably gonna have to take like 10 bathroom breaks, so I'm just, you know, sorry in advance, guys. We'll see if Zombie Room can maybe keep the fort down for us. But that's why I'm standing. I'm trying to burn off some of this energy. I can't sit down, especially when we got some 2v2 action. Also, by the look of the viewer count, I'm going to assume Twitch is spoiling us with some front page time again. So, oh, thank you so much, Twitch. Hello, everybody. But yeah, we're getting into things. We got a couple of shout-outs already. I don't even have my stream alerts page up. Like, that's how quick you guys are to the draw here. So thank you, everybody who is already jumping in on that sub train.
Cool.
Subtrain lately. Okay, who? Jojo Power Ranger. I feel like I just met you, man. 2 months back-to-back days off. Only time I get to see you guys live, which is why I love the VODs. So today's a really good day. Thank you. Well, thank you for tuning in. And congratulations on having the day off. Aylis also came back for 37 months. Oh, hoi hoi hoi. Never forget Catalina. No, it's gone. I've already forgotten about it. Who? What's that girl you're talking about? Who?
What?
Her?
What? You actually asked me a question? What girl?
No. What? Hey.
Hey?
Do we have the maps yet, or are they still doing vetoes?
A couple seconds.
Like I said, good luck holding down the fort today, Zombie Grub.
Oh boy. I mean, I recall the first time because I have had coffee, but I always had sips of like my mom's very, not watered down, but like, you know, a lot of cream and sugar. So when I first had coffee, it was when a Lehman League tried changing to 12 midnight for me.
Oh, Jesus.
And I was also equally as wired. Now I'm much more used to it, and I don't even have a full cup of coffee ever. Like, I did in Korea because I loved cold brew, and you're right, that stuff is really concentrated. And I only put like a little bit of sugar in it, but yeah, I remember.
By the way, to be clear, I wasn't doing squats for subs, okay? Because that's not allowed on Twitch. They were completely independent and not related to the subs.
Squats for subs aren't allowed? Working out for subs isn't allowed?
I don't know, dude. There's some... The IRL section's a strange place on Twitch, and it has provided a weird rule set for the rest of us to follow.
Huh. I can't,
by the way, have you... I know you don't really like it, and you don't know the memes, but have you followed anything from the recent VR chat of the yanderes that have been invading?
No.
So good, dude.
Boy.
So good. These girls just go like crazy yandere RP, and I love it. It's all over the front page of live stream fails today. I was watching a bunch of those. But
well, I can get behind that.
Yeah, I know. You like the yanderes. That's why I figured I'd ask. But I'm really excited, guys, because hopefully, if combination ESL and Blizzard ever finally pay me, I can go out and buy a Vive, which I've been really looking forward to.
Ooh.
But
I am deciding on whether I want to buy a Switch or not.
Would your lights not work?
Nintendo Switch. I asked chat yesterday, my chat that is, and I didn't get as many like straight up like yeah, it's a great console as I thought I would, because I mean when it was announced, it ran out and people were like, we'll sell liver for Nintendo Switch and stuff, and then people love the games that are on it, and I know a lot of other commentators, people in esports that travel a lot also have it, but it wasn't as gung-ho as I thought. So I'm like, actually, like, should I? I mean, I have my DS, I have my Kindle. I mean,
I haven't followed the Switch too closely, but what I've seen is like a lot of people got super hyped. Super Mario and Zelda were like the best games ever made, and then nothing. So I don't know.
Well, that's true.
Everyone's like, oh, they're bringing Skyrim to it. I'm like, dude, I didn't pick up Skyrim the first time around. I don't know. I know, not to offend, because there's gonna be people here who love Skyrim. I just didn't dig it. I was just carrying around 12 pounds of cheese and dying to giants. That was my Skyrim experience.
Right? I don't know what it was. So I figured I'd go back and try Skyrim, because I didn't like Fallout when I first tried it either. Like it was just too much. But then I kind of focused and did the story, and I actually enjoyed Fallout. So I figured I should try and go back to Skyrim. But I don't want to download the game and then all the mods again. Well, can't play without the mods.
That's for me. Where I look at the Vive, and there's like all this stuff like VR chat and memes, whatever. But they've also started doing things like Fallout and like Skyrim in VR and stuff. That would be a cool experience, I think, honestly. Because the worst part for me about those games were they're very flat and linear. But I think like if you're immersed in the world, it's probably a way different experience. But anyways, for those who are wondering why we're jibber jabbering about nothing here, we're just waiting on the maps still, and hopefully it won't be too long before we have them. It's also worth noting Practice X won't be here for about half an hour or so. So if this first series goes really quick, we'll have to buy some time. But I think judging by the pacing off of yesterday, it really shouldn't be a problem. At least hopefully it won't be a problem.
Yeah. They're taking about as long as Starkiller. That's okay.
Yeah.
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 Speaking of yeah, I took a German lesson this morning for random reasons. But totally, you guys will figure it out.
Oh, Zombie Girl, were you going to Germany or something? That's so strange. What would you possibly be going to Germany for?
I'm very hopeful I'll go to Home Story Cup in the summer.
Get the fuck out. Okay, well, that's cool. Good luck learning enough German for Home Story Cup. We all know it's really for Klaus, your Korean-German boyfriend that you've had online ever since you broke up with Steve.
Steven.
She's like, Steve, you're just too Asian for me. I need a mixed breed.
Oh
Klaus.
God. Oh, no. Let's not get into that.
So how did it go? Were you doing like a verbal thing with a tutor or something, or what?
Yeah. I use the same website I used to learn Korean. I do like learning languages, but whereas Korean I already had a basis because I went to class. French, I had 4 years of it. German was like completely unknown to me. And while there are similarities of all the languages, you learn one language, you actually learn a lot about other ones. This pronunciation is about as random, I feel, as I expected. Like, everyone looks at German words and they're like, well, how the hell do you say that? And even though she tried very hard to teach me, I was like, and then she tried to tell me to actually say it, with the guttural grr, and I was like, I don't know how to say I'm 26 years old, because it's zish fuck, nah. It's harder than Asian languages. Damn.
So just interjecting really quick, does this sound better, guys? Because apparently I was using the wrong microphone before. So it's almost a perfect start, and then it got fucked up. But on the topic of getting the guttural sounds or whatever, that's what I was always really impressed with. You'd see Tina Fey just casually speak German in 30 Rock. And you're like, she sounds like a different person. That's not her voice coming out of her mouth. Yeah,
but she took German in high school, didn't she? I always thought she did. I thought she did, and I think because her character is German ancestry, and that's why she said that she learned it in high school in the show. I guess I assumed that I was actually her real life situation. or she just, I don't know. I feel like it is kind of weird, but like the sillier you are with some of these words, the more you try and ham it up with the sound, the closer you will be. So maybe it just works out.
You just like, you're gonna be like, you know how I do all these accents, but they always end up being Jamaican or something at the end. You're gonna be like starting really well with regular German and go to like in control porn German. Like that's the scale.
Yeah.
Like Guten Tag. Yeah.
Oh God.
What's the other word I know? Wunderbar.
Wunderbar. Danke.
All right.
Yeah.
Oh, StarCraft volume is hella low, guys. Hopefully it's gonna be a little bit better. I'm not sure why the volume for this was almost off. So this means that when we get in game, it's certainly not going to be where I want it to be. But do me a favor, let me know on stream if it's too loud, if it's too quiet.
Yeah.
I think actually one of the most things I find fascinating about German, objective of the language itself, is like when you always learn that they have a word for everything. Like there's a word for every type of weird phrase, every strange phenomenon. They actually have something for that.
Yeah. Well, that's just smart thinking, really. They don't have a word, make it up.
By the way, this is going to be our first game that features all Grandmaster players, with even a Grandmaster in the spectator slot.
Right? Well, perfect.
So, I'm not sure. I guess we should ask the players. Was the patch reverted, or is it still awkwardly live?
No, it was reverted within 2 hours.
Cool. So it really was the accidental missile crisis. Great.
Yeah, that Reddit post is pretty on point.
The Reddit our programmer humor was just a full page of different ways that it was like fucking up the buttons. So good to look at.
Today was oh, go ahead.
Well, one of my favorite ones was because we talked about those we saw with the ad and stuff, but afterwards I saw this one where they click it and they move the mouse to the left side of the screen to be safe, but it turns out the buttons were vertical instead of horizontal.
Yes,
so you still click
don't open dead inside or don't dead open inside.
Yeah, exactly, yeah.
Yeah, they're having their time to shine, I tell you what.
Well, we do have everybody in the lobby for the most part. Optimus and uThermal. Oh, I should note, uThermal asked a very intriguing question, Zombie Grub, about today's tournament. What is it, Rifkin? What was it? I don't know. I'm glad you asked. Because he was asking specifically if he was allowed to race swap. And more specifically, if you could race swap during a series. So I said, you know what? Sure, why not? Yes to everything. So if you want to do like Protoss Game 1, Terran Game 2, YOLO, go for it. So I don't know if they got special plans or if he just wants to mess around. We'll find out.
Yeah, all right. They also asked if they... What?
Sorry, go on. No, you first.
They also asked if they could use tags, sprays, there we go, sprays. And I didn't know, but it does make sense with the rules that WC doesn't allow sprays. So
please use sprays.
Yeah, I was like, yeah, you can use them. You can use skins. And they're like, can we dance? And I was like, yeah, you can BM. Just don't be a real dick.
So I just want to note, uThermal, I believe, just changed his portrait picture. And I think there's a little bit of possible shenanigans afoot because he has selected Protoss, but he swapped his portrait picture to be the Terran logo. Also, I don't know who this guy is.
He's gone.
Yeah, get the fuck out of here.
Yeah.
All right, well, we're good whenever the players are. We'll see if this shenanigans get noticed. Damaga has to call it out in chat. You fool. You fool. But you guys will see what I'm talking about here as we get to the load screen. Trader's Exile up for map number 1. Also, quick note that the Matcherino has been filled up rather generously. We're over $1,000 now, but there's still at least $100 or so left in codes you can claim. We'll go into a little bit more detail as the stream goes on. Let's just hop into the first game for now, as it's going to be Protoss and Terran versus Zerg and Terran.
Okay. Alrighty then.
Well, spawning here to the lower right side, it's a couple of Dutchies. If it ain't Dutch, it ain't much. It's the orange Terran Optimus and the blue Protoss uThermal.
In the top left. Oh my god. Oh, it's the red Terran Clem and it's the teal Zerg Denver, but we have France versus the Netherlands. No mixes of countries here.
Straight up Nation Wars, boys. You thought this was a 2v2 tournament? No, it's Nation Wars. Yeah, of course, these two players are French and also very young, worth noting too. Clem much more so than Denver, but uThermal probably the oldest. It's like the grandpa of the four of them. Also, can we talk about this? All day yesterday I went on and on about this, but this is the teamwork aspect of the game. I'm really happy to see. It's a wall off here at the front. It's both players covering their butts. So now the Protoss player, in this case, is weird to say, uThermal, he can actually build a bunch of shield batteries and turtle up, and it will cover both of them instead of just him. And all the Protoss games we saw yesterday, it was the Protoss player being useless because they were stuck in their base, either forced to turtle or not making enough units to help with.
Of course, yesterday we had a lot of Zergs paired up with a different race, so it was very difficult for anyone to get a wall off like that. The Terran could have definitely done it, the Protoss could have definitely done it, but, you know, if there was a 12 pool, well then maybe they regret putting it all the way out there. So this does make sense, Terran and Protoss together. Someone mentions how we spoke a little bit about, you know, Protoss not looking so good yesterday, and well, that, you know, there's various factors, you know, that Protoss was playing kind of like the greedy style, trying to go for void rays and stuff like that. One of the weaknesses that we talked about was the early game, but if you wall, you kind of cover yourself against the early game. Yeah. So, you know, they're going to cover each other, and this is going to work out really well for the mid to late game. In fact, I think they even have a, I mean, not a huge advantage, but a bit of an advantage here by doing this.
Yeah, I do love too, by the way, they're even covering the walls on the side. The rocks are vulnerable points, and this will eventually get opened up, but it's best that you see it happen rather than not. Also, one more call for action. If you guys have problems with the game sounds, let us know. For some reason, they were basically off, and I had to kind of fix them on the fly. I'm not sure if this is quite where they should be for the stream, so let me know what you guys think. If things are okay, we won't fiddle. But if things are too quiet or too loud, please let us know. But supposedly, uThermal's done a fair bit of off-racing as Protoss. People in chat were actually discussing what his off-race MMR was, and I've got nothing to back that up. I don't know what it is, but I wouldn't be surprised. A lot of these guys who got sick of Terran in the recent patch really did start playing a lot of off-racing or straight up quit and retired.
It was a rather depressing patch, which is, I mean, it got better. Got a little bit better. With the really recent patch, and then it's going to get even better with the one that should be coming after Leipzig. I think on like the 29th or something is when it's supposed to happen, not yesterday for 2 hours.
Where is Leipzig?
In Europe.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Sorry, I thought it was Poland or something.
Yeah.
It's got okay, I'll meme and shenanigans later, guys. Denver is actually setting up for a drop, but the pylon's not going to cover this. It's just barely not going to see it.
Yeah, that's a little annoying. But it's a handful of lings at, you know, almost 4 minutes already. This is not something that's going to all in and win the game. At most, honestly, I think it would be scouting, but, you know, Clem already got some scouting. Ditto for Optimus, who gets in here, sees what's going on. This is probably the least aggressive 2v2 we've had of the last 6 matches. It's the sixth match in a row.
Yeah, for those who don't know what's on the docket for today, we got 5 best of 3s in total. Now these links are going to come up here, and you know, even if they get in here sneaky beaky mode, there's not really a lot for them to do. Okay, the Oracle's going to see this, so it's no longer sneaky beaky, but there's actually an army ready to intercept this should he need to. Stalkers on the right side, Marines and tank on the left.
You say sneaky beaky. I would say sneaky deaky. Is there a correct follow-up to sneaky?
I don't know. All I know is you go sneaky to B in Counter-Strike and hope nobody sees you plant that bomb.
I know Counter-Strike things.
Sneaky cheeky? I don't know, man. You got me thinking about this more than I should.
Well, we have multiple Stargates coming down for uThermal now, and one thing we certainly learned the last time that there's 2v2s was that if you could get up to multiple Stargates and a lot of Phoenixes really work quite good.
2016 was like the year of 2v2 Phoenix builds, and it was pretty gross, pretty dank.
I mean, there's reasons for this. You know, it's not just that because they got to mass Phoenix, that's why it works. You get to mass a lot of things and it works, but I mean, it covers your air when you're their I keep want to say opponent, you know, StarCraft 2 players, one's an opponent, but your partner can kind of just cover the ground, you cover the air, and Phoenixes can also cover the ground, same way that the mutas were, but also crowd control, which is nice.
I think if it was possible, and it's not because of the cost, efficiency, and supply, but if it was possible to get mass Phoenix as well as regular units, I think we'd always see Phoenix in play. They bring so much power with their crowd control, much less their damage and their speed, and of course their very unique ability to move and shoot. So I love that that's, for me, one of those moments where you're like, 2v2 really creates a cool dynamic. You couldn't afford to do this 1v1 most of the time, but the fact that your ally has your, I guess, weaknesses covered, you can go these units, and these can snowball, like beyond control snowball.
Yeah. Obviously, we're having a real macro game at this point. I mean, this went beyond 2 bases, 3 for the Zerg. This is going to 3 bases to 4 for everyone, as by walling off or just being allowed to take your high ground, I guess, because the middle of the map's where the low ground really is. You're going to have a lot of bases. But what gets better as we get into a super late game? I would say Terran and Protoss does. The Zerg is going to start falling behind, especially if Denver isn't quicker to hive here.
So this is where it gets interesting for me with Denver specifically. A lot of things that we would expect out of regular Zerg players, we wouldn't see ever. But Denver's the guy who's been willing to do these strange neural parasite builds, who would be likely to get parasitic bombs in response to Phoenix. The guy who might be the only one to make infestors nowadays. Like, I'm not saying he will do these things, but there's a higher chance he actually hard counters this than most others, and we won't see it coming because it's Denver, and he's really unique with his playstyle.
Well, the Phoenixes are really going to start taking control. Clem might even have to go to Thor. They will go over missile turrets. They will go over spore crawlers. The only thing that really deter them is the army being there.
Yeah, I wonder what would be better in this situation, Thors versus Ghosts. But, oh, there's a big tech swap coming in uThermal.
Quadruple Robo. There's already a Colossus on the way.
Yeah, that's... I didn't expect this to come off the back end of the Stargate. But I guess if we think about it, the Phoenixes would maybe bait out units that the Colossus would counter. Hydras, Marines, you name it.
I mean, this is, I think, smart considering how this game has gone. If this is a 1v1, this is smart, you know? Like, if you know their opponent really is not going to fight you, go into Mass Colossus, sure. That scan was... well, that scan was still... yeah.
Right, so the scan itself was good. It's whether Clem could read into that or not, because he's still three Stargates. That's what you see initially. But if you're looking, then you saw the Robo with a chrono on it, and you're like, okay, dang, what's up with that?
And the Stargates weren't even building anything anymore. So while people do go more Phoenixes than even what uThermal has, he's like already at 16. It is probably unlikely. It is probably smarter to go into something better, Colossus in this case, and then eventually Storm, I'm sure.
I'm not sure I like what Clem's doing. Also got a quick note, he's using the Total Biscuit announcer pack. Might be the only person I've heard use that so far. No shade thrown, it's just nobody ever uses it. Everyone uses friggin' Diva and stuff, but this is interesting, and the reason I don't like it is because he's possibly setting himself up to be 2v1 here, right? And on the south side, Denver wants to do something, but he gets caught with a stasis trap.
Wow.
Oh, shut down.
That was like a perfect one, man. And of course, you know, Optimus or uThermal, like, they can respond easily if they have knowledge to one-on-one. uThermal maybe wants to wait a little bit more for his Colossus, but apparently there's so many Phoenixes, he just picks up every roach anyways.
I think still to this point, I'm not sure if that got revealed by the attack. He did see 3 Robos. He saw 3 Robos.
There's already not much they can... Well, there's already so many Colossus, there's not much they can do, and even if they went into a Greater Spire, because I don't think Clem has a better option to get Colossus right now, you know, uThermal could just go into Tempest.
2v1 for so long. Denver takes a long time to get involved with the fight. Most of the Marines are just picked up in the sky. He comes in the back and kills some of the tanks, and that's great. And Fungal catches some of the Colossus, but there's not enough army to chase this down. Optimus doesn't have a lot to guard with, but uThermal's own Phoenix are more than enough. They are more than capable to keep these alive.
It ended up being a little more awkward than I thought for uThermal and Optimus. I guess they were kind of in a long line. Not all the tanks were sieged, and the Colossus were fungal, so while most of them should have lived, a couple of them lagged behind. But it still ultimately, I'd say, goes better here. I'm really not sure that Denver's late game, because he's the only one really going in a late game. Clem isn't, as much as Terran can do, I suppose. But can it really be the thing that saves him?
I'm really curious on something here, and I'm wondering if Optimus is feeding uThermal a little bit. I bring this up just because his army supply is so low. He didn't actually lose that much to have such a low army supply. And what uThermal's doing is so bloody expensive. I'm wondering if there's a bit of feeding going on here.
Maybe. I mean, we really have to pay more attention. But I would say that Optimus did lose a sizable chunk of his army. It was just on the front when we were watching the Colossus.
I guess 40 Marines and 4 tanks. I'm comparing it to Clem rather than being objective with it. I guess it makes sense. Regardless, feeding's always a cool tactic because it's something you can only do in 2v2s, but Colossus are looking to be very difficult to engage. Even with the Brood Lords coming in, there's plenty of Phoenix still to help zone this out.
Yeah, it was a bit of a mistake for uThermal or whoever to not scout that Brood Lords are on the way, because an easy transition was there back into your Stargate production, back into Tempest, or in this case, Void Rays. But they do have the option still. They just need to buy a little bit of time, and since it's Denver and Clem who are scared, they got plenty of time.
Yeah, Clem almost made a big mistake in greedy with his bio chasing out against the Colossus like that. While this has gone on, though, Liberators combined with like the attack that happened at the third, uThermal's lost so many workers in this game. But thanks to the fact that he's on 4 Nexus, he's had no problem replacing them, so he keeps that worker count up.
Yeah. Unfortunately, I just really don't think that Denver and Clem played a lot to what could have been their strengths. I mean, Denver is the Zerg player trying to get to late game versus a late game Protoss, and not to race complain, but we've seen this happen. Imagine what it's like when you have Terran helping that late game Protoss. It probably doesn't look very good. And then Clem went bio, which is being just so hard countered. Even if he had something against, like, he had 200 army of bio. Well, how many Colossus is that? Like, that's still being efficient trade for 13 Colossus.
Maybe this is going to be a problem here on the top side, but Denver's actually doing a great job. He forces a recall out of Optimus, or excuse me, uThermal, actually. And that army over here wasn't that big, but it was also getting out alive. This is huge.
Yeah. That was really nice, and that's what I wanted to see happen when I was talking about not playing to his strengths. You know, the fact that uThermal never had his side of the rocks broken down was just, you know, a huge question mark. But nicely done. Optimus loses the army, but Optimus is also banking so much. Actually, a drop was in his main too. Does it matter? Is this ultimately going to come down to uThermal's army versus both Clem and Denver's? Because I can see that. Colossus Void Ray, you don't get much stronger. He's just missing Storm. That is literally the only thing he's missing.
I feel like the Brood Lords they were the solution for a long time in this game. But eventually he has to know there's going to be maybe Tempest, definitely Void Rays, maybe Carriers. Like, it's just a matter of time. And for Denver, here we go. He's going to finally use the Brood Lords offensively. He starts bringing them across the map. I guess he'll start teaming up with Clem. Right now, Optimus's army, though, is in the south side looking for these roaches, and Hydra's kind of out of position in this way.
I don't even know how to read this game. It feels like a regular PvZ set. Well, not with all many Colossus, but with all the Stargates producing, PvZ is happening. With the TVT, we have both Terrans trying to go into Liberator production, which I guess is the right move. I actually have no idea. Should he get Vikings up against the Brood Lord? Should EMPs be coming out? I don't know.
I love that there's Spore Crawlers here to help cover against some of the anti-air. Hydra's keeping this off the tanks. I mean, the Colossus are good, but they can't funnel into the tanks. Not in this kind of terrain. They come in and very staggered. Meanwhile, topside looks like a drop's going to get a base cancel here for Clem, if not a kill. But Denver and Clem, Team Francois, have certainly got a lot of power here on the front lines.
Yeah, these Voiders ended up being a lot more awkward than useful. As when they overcharge, are very slow, and those Marines on the low ground that, you know, out of range of the Colossus will get a lot of shots. This drop is still continuing, but not for
you know
much
what?
longer.
I didn't realize how far behind Optimus started getting with upgrades, too. He's still stuck on 1-1, and he's pretty far off a 2-2 even, only about halfway done. Meanwhile, Clem's almost done his +3 weapons.
Yes, he definitely fell behind, and it's a little inexcusable because he was banking so much at one point. I think he just... I don't know what he was thinking, but maybe uThermal's got this.
I almost wish we had put more emphasis on watching Denver this game. I know a lot of the action's been up here, but I feel like Denver's been the one keeping Optimus down. Optimus is a good player. He's good enough, at least, that he wouldn't fall behind a macro like this on his own. Something's been going on here, and just too much damage has been taken consistently. I mean, we know this base has been denied by creep for a considerable amount of time now.
Yeah, but while he's got that on upgrades, he's still keeping up on the supply. He is obviously moving out a large portion of his army to the side, and Clem and Denver are both hitting 1 point, so it's like, it's a little scary.
Oh. You know, if the Marines ever get a chance to actually fight, they're going to do fantastic. But that's the key thing about this. Terrain has been kept very much in mind. uThermal's never overextended. Like, credit where it's due. This guy has played it very close to the vest, very smart, and he's not taking any bad losses while this game's gone on.
I just wish that uThermal would round out the Protoss army, you know, and getting Oracle Revelation, and that is something you got to do eventually. But I mean, some Immortals to buffer for the Colossus, some Storms. There's never been any Ghosts on the field, and then I guess eventually just getting into Pure. air. You know, eventually getting rid of your Colossus, but it's taking his time.
I do want to point out the neural parasite that's on deck. I'm not sure what Denver has up his sleeves, but like, this guy is TLO levels of creative when it comes to neural parasites.
This could be very cool.
He's losing some of the Colossus down here to the south side. Massive amounts of Vikings are made, but Corruptors are pretty good against Vikings, guys. Trying to hit and run. He's not getting the range he wants. Meanwhile, left side, Marines storm in. This base isn't going to get a chance in hell to survive. All the SCVs are going to go down. Optimus losing his expansion.
Yeah. uThermal is also going to start running out of money. I mean, he's been on bases for a long time, and reaching towards that very north base or taking Optimus's bases is still going to be difficult. They're outpositioned since the thermal is really the backbone here. Is just slow composition.
There's so much potential for Denver right now that I really enjoy because you pointed out earlier, we never saw Storm get made. So there's no Templar in play, meaning there's also no feedbacks to counter this. Something that I think a native Protoss player would be very aware of, but with this being uThermal's off race might not be so second nature. Yeah,
this is actually a really big problem. Storm is, okay, maybe that gets EMP'd, but feedbacks usually come down before, you know, they're a little sneakier, they cost less energy. And they are more important as we get into the late game PvZ. Ooh. Nice drop from Clem, still catching their opponents off guard. I mean, at this point, you would assume that there'd be tons of cannons and shield batteries, but while there's some, they're not in position. And,
Who's gonna get out of there? Boost is coming up.
He's trying to go into carriers now, but man, I really wish we would get some storms.
Wow. By the way, 74 probes died in the making of this game. 20 Phoenix, 10 Colossus. I mean, there's a lot of losses here for uThermal.
We also finally have some ghosts on the way, but there for Clem. It was something I was noting. I wish Optimus would get ghosts instead of going for... So, he's kind of getting beat out with how you play Bio, right? He's not really doing as many drops or out positioning Clem and Denver as much as... Yeah, that too, as they are doing to him. I wish he would just kind of be like, you know what? Let's just go for the unbeatable, like, slow move forward, and that would be Ghosts. The Ghosts are protected by the Tempest, they're protected by the Colossus, and you actually get those snipes in when usually you're tickled by Broodlings and you don't get it. And as we saw, by the way, Optimus's Vikings have just not been as helpful as I think he was hoping for.
I think they're good. Credit where it's due, though, a lot more effective than going mass Marines that are behind at this point. And I like the idea of trying to help cover uThermal. uThermal's weaknesses were the fact that these Corruptors would just run over him. But on that note, I almost wish we see Widow Mines over either of those units. But regardless, we got the big push coming in from Clem. Pushes to the front side. He's pushed away by the tanks on that siege position. The Corruptors dive way deep, though, and kill a lot of Colossus. They're probably going to die on the way out, but they did a lot of damage. Served their purpose.
Yeah. Well, you know, if uThermal hadn't taken other losses throughout this game, I'd be like, no problem. He doesn't want Colossus anymore anyways. It's all about the air. But he is coming to a point where he's going to start struggling to get maxed out. And again, I don't even think his max out is perfect. Where are the Archons that usually protect those Colossus? Where are the Storms that mean you can't dive without EMPs? Like, it feels like such an opportunity.
We got us a nuke, zombie grub.
Well, that's pretty awesome. I mean, they're absolutely winning in the run-by game. They're doing a lot more damage just to start splitting the map apart. And what they really need is just an ability to move the army from positions they are entrenched in, and a nuke will do that.
Yeah, I don't know if this will catch the army, but you know what? This is a great way to start putting pressure on those robos. Cut out at least that from production. I mean, he's going for air now, so it doesn't really matter so much. But still, it's a base, it's probes, it forces fights. And meanwhile, all of this goes on for Denver. Like, Clem's doing great. 10 out of 10 for Clem. But all he's really doing is buying time for Denver. Because I feel like Denver's going to be the one who carries through on this one. Combination spellcasters, but most importantly, like, his... Oh, just frankly, spellcasters. These infestors are going to be amazing.
Look how much Denver hasn't really contributed to the fight. Well, or has contributed so efficiently to the fights, is how I should put it. Like, the resources lost really tells the game, and just how much Optimus is losing to Clem, but then, you know, uThermal and Denver, who are supposed to be the ones, really the backbones, Denver's even winning out in that regard.
That feel when you've got enough Vikings to one-shot anything.
Yeah. And oh my god, I'm like really getting tilted by the no storms. Because what's also great about storms is that you can place them around the map, and very rarely do the ghosts come along with little run-bys. So, oh god.
You know what? I would be more critical, but it really comes down to off racing for me, where I'm like, look, I kind of understand. It makes sense. I think if this was a player like Harstom, Neeb, like one of the main race guys, I'd be a lot more tisk.
So you're absolutely correct, but in my mind, as someone who operates as Protoss and just shoots right towards Storm, because I know how difficult it is to play against, I'm like, really though? Like, how is uThermal not like, you know, what's really good against Terran?
That's the interesting dynamic, right? At whatever league you're at, Masters or whatever, that might be the case, but at Grandmasters, the bullshit thing isn't Storm, it's just carry. It's, you know, like, where does the tipping versus balance skill go? At any rate, this is still looking pretty bad for our Southern team. At this point of the game, the measurements actually come from the fact that there's no mining for Optimus. They're out of money at this point. One player's going to be dead weight, not because he took a bad army fight, but because he's just losing 1 or 2 units at a time. He can never replace. Yeah. I mean, no minerals. And all the bases they want to take, heck, Denver's already taken. Clem's already taken. Another big nuke coming down. Oh, how did he possibly get in a position to nuke this?
It's a pretty perfect position. I can't believe it's the Zerg and Terran team that was able to bully this team back so that they're expanding on a very expansion light map. I mean, this got close to each other when it came down to 4th and 5th. So when they're getting 6th and 7th on the opponent's side of the map, I didn't expect to go like this. But now, like, the Zerg and Terran here, Denver and Clem have everything that you want in late game. They have infestors and queens of transfuses and ghosts and nukes. Yet our Terran and Protoss are missing. And bears. They're missing very important things. Optimus, no ghosts, no nukes. uThermal, no storms, no archons.
You know what it is? Actually, it's because they're both pro players, not casters.
You. But like, seriously, I think that could actually be just what comes down to this, because what you could always say, I think, if they had the rounded out late game army is like, okay, Clem and Denver are going to win a base trade, but what if they had to take on the army? That shouldn't be possible. But they are missing these late game things, and so the army fights are possible for Denver and Clem. They just haven't had to take it. I mean, this has been way more efficient.
There's also like a million spore crawlers in the middle of the map covered by these Vikings. Like, by the time these guys get to take a fight, they're gonna have to go through so much static D. This is gonna wear them down.
Yeah. And I figure someone's gonna bring up, like, there's so many ghosts for Clem. Why would headquarters really be good? But I'm just gonna remind everyone that there was like 15, 16 minutes of this game where there were no ghosts whatsoever. But even still, I think that High Templars is still useful. But it's coming down to that point where uThermal and Optimus, they realize they gotta take a fight. They're hoping it's gonna work out, but I just don't think it is.
Yeah, rip frame rate. We got a lot of neural parasites on that left side, though. Grabs a lot of the void rays, the key units to destroy what uThermal has, and the marine stim underneath it. That's it. It's over. GG. The Frenchies take game number 1.
Well, that was a surprise, but kudos to them. I would have given up as soon as I saw the carriers. On to the next ladder game, Rifkin. We're dead.
next ladder game. Well, yeah, game 2 will be coming up here in a moment, guys. We do have all the maps, so we shouldn't be taking too long for this. We'll save the ad break. That was a really long game, but we'll save the ad break for after this one. So if it goes to game 3, we will play some ads, but till then, we'll just rock and roll.
The next map is Flooded City, which gets pretty claustrophobic pretty quickly.
That one does have, I think, better expansions to take than the map we just saw, though. If it goes down to these split scenarios, I mean. Especially with golds being nice and tidy in the back.
Yeah. There's not a lot of... There's not really a lot of bases. There's 6 you're going to be in, so 3 for each, and then the outwards ones are going to be really weird.
Well, if you guys haven't seen the map, it's gonna do us no good to explain it. Also, yo, have you seen that new Wardy emote Nervoth is putting in chat?
I have, yep.
It's so good!
So weird.
Yeah, if you guys didn't see, I guess announcement was this morning. Wardy is gonna be definitely getting involved with the BTSL that we'll be announcing in the next couple days. Ironing out the last couple details with these sponsors. I'm a little bit upset. The venue should be really easy to lock down, but I'm having some troubles with that. But I think we can at least... that's so separate of the actual online portion. I might just go ahead and announce without the venue on lockdown. We'll figure out the venue later.
Alright.
But yeah, really cool stuff coming, guys. And that picture, that stupid little emote, was the picture I used for Wardy's announcement thing. because he wouldn't send me a good picture to use for the tweet.
You know the Cheesadelphia announcement? I don't know if you saw it. I retweeted it.
Yeah, it's like those two in like suits looking try hard,
Yeah.
and he's just like, "Hey, shooting guns! I just told a good joke. What's up?"
So I do think it looks silly. Not that I'm offended by the picture use, because I use it on my Twitter profile. But I was like, why?
Did
So
they
I
ask you
messaged
for
him
one?
saying. So I messaged him saying, you know, you could just ask me for a picture, trying not to sound like passive aggressive, but like I guess that's how it's gonna come off. And he was like, "Oh yeah, I gave the guy the one you gave me, but he didn't use." And I was like, "Oh, I gave you a picture. Like what? Why did you use?" It was like the nice picture that you used for people images. So I don't know, but I rolled with it. I'm gonna joke.
It's also a lie. I mean, it's blonde. People are gonna show up expecting this blonde bombshell and some mousy square. No, I'm sorry.
Wow, rude. I mean, I would have looked mousy anyways. I won't have the hairdresser there to do the thing to make it beautiful.
I hope while you were getting the makeup done, you're just like, "Julie, do the thing," and sit down. She's just like, "Who the fuck is Julie? What are you talking about?" If
She was like, "What do you want?" But she never really asked. She was just like, "This would look good," and I was like, "I trust you." If she did though, I would be like, "That thing, you know, the thing." That would have been how I would have explained.
All of it. All right, looks like we just gotta fix the teams, and then we'll be ready to rock and roll. We'll see if uThermal sticks with Protoss or if he swaps again. He has changed his portrait off of the Terran logo, so no attempts to bamboozle, I guess. Looks like Denver needs a moment or two. Well, guys, I didn't intend to do an ad break, but it's gonna take one of these players 2 minutes, so we're gonna be back in 2 minutes. See you soon.
And I know now we're getting older. The world we built is slipping through our fingers. We're running out of time. But you are the one I've chosen, and I won't lay still, living left behind, imprisoned by this love. I could feel your heartbeat. I could feel somewhere you're looking down. I could feel your heartbeat. I could feel somewhere you're looking down. 'Cause it's you I'm loving, and it's you that I wanna breathe. And it's you I'm loving, and it's you that I wanna need.
Boo, ads are so boring. Well, that's okay, because they're over and done with. We're getting back in the game. Big thing in Salic, or Salk, for the 2-month resub. And then Thorley also celebrated 2 goddamn years here on the channel during that last game. Thank you very much. Coming back for 24 months in a row, my friend. But folks, it's game 2 in the first series of the day, the preliminary match, if you will. Spawning here to the top right side, excuse me, they're actually down in the series. It's going to be the combination of uThermal, sticking with Protoss, and his ally, Optimus.
In the bottom position, it is the Blue Zerg Denver. It's your Terran, Clem.
So I did like that there was some team synergy. Sure, there was some awkwardness, definitely some points worth criticizing, but overall, I really enjoyed that game. Not because it went long and because it was carriers and Protoss or anything like that. It it really did feel both of these teams were working in sync. There was a lot of instances where you're like, it was very evident. Clem was like, hey, I'm gonna attack this base. Can you attack the other at the same time? And that's why Optimus kept getting caught without any support. Alternatively, too, from the wall off that we're seeing once again replicated to the unit compositions. Sure, they weren't the most perfectly matched thing of all time, but you saw, you know, Optimus helping get anti-air when uThermal didn't have anti-air. Like, there was actually good team synergy and communication evident, even though we can't hear it.
Yeah, I mean, maybe it's possible that, you know, they weren't talking at all and it was just one or the other noting like, yeah, that would be a good idea. But I think more likely, and maybe an added benefit to these guys all being from the same country, speaking the exact same language, the communication should be pretty top notch. But I really want to know what the communication was on Optimus, to be honest. Like, you know, I really want to imagine that the first 15 minutes were very optimistic, and then the last 15 minutes were very pessimistic.
Something from Optimus to Pessimist.
Yeah, exactly.
Sounds like Roman names. Pessimus, Decimus, Meridius.
But seriously, like, they got in such a great position for what a Terran and Protoss would want to, but there's... You really got him, Rifkin. It was quite a good gotcha moment. But they didn't make any casters. And it's a big reason, I think, why they lost. But maybe they can fix it now.
Whether that was actually the core problem for them or otherwise, we'll see. Because if they've got some other all-in up their sleeve, maybe it's not even going to go down to that late game. I don't know. We'll find out. I do feel, though, one of the points you brought up that I was super in agreement, though. Okay, maybe you don't have the wherewithal to go for storms and you're not thinking about feedbacks. Archons, I thought were sorely missing, though. And those are the best A-movie units you could possibly ask for.
Right? Yeah. I mean, they have no choice really but to wall off with their high ground like that. Unfortunately, Flooded City does get a little more complicated as you get to the naturals, because the safe naturals are blocked by rocks. These naturals aren't as safe as you would think. I would have really preferred them to be aggressive. Optimus and uThermal actually take advantage of the fact that Zerg has to expand in this kind of vulnerable area, but yeah, that's not their thinking.
I agree. I would have loved to have seen some Hellions come straight down the middle of the map type thing, but they are going to open these back rocks. Cyclones are actually pretty bad at tearing down rocks, which is funny considering they destroy everything else in the game really easily. Is that a full wall off? I don't think it is. Oh, it is. Oh my god.
Definitely doesn't look that way, but yeah, I guess it's more like I couldn't imagine fitting anything else in between that.
Folks have asked several times now about the lightning strikes. They're just aesthetics. There's no maps that are going to ever affect the game, unless it's specifically one that has like raising lava in it or something gimmicky. It's all just aesthetics.
Yeah, these are all ladder maps at one point or another. It's gonna be dramatic like that. So you do have a little bit of pressure coming in from Clem. I mean, very, very light, but still scouting. You know, there's no bases out here, so they're trying to break down the rocks, which means that Denver and Clem do get an economic advantage. You know, they might have taken scarier bases, and the bases through thermal optics might be gold bases, but, you know, what happens is, if this is going to go into a macro game again, Denver and Clem expand to more bases faster, and while uThermal gets this big spike, this big adrenaline rush, drink, you know, Dodger's coffee or something, it's going to run out. And can they protect the other bases that move you farther and farther, or closer and closer to your opponent?
I'm like sitting here like, chill or shots fired? I'm not entirely... no, but you bring up a really good point where, like, we saw this in the last game. It's going to be very evident here. If those bases mine out, getting your 5th and 6th, very difficult. Mining these out and then getting turtled into your main base, not so bad when you get the fallback. So sure, maybe they'll get that spike early, and if these guys get aggressive, then the gold is going to be totally worth it. But if they don't, and it's a slow game like last game, I think just the expansions favor the southern team. Team Francois. There's a lot of air on this map. I guess we kind of talked a lot about it without showing it off, but all this space here, guys, is pathable. It's all water, so you know there's not going to be any marines or missile turrets or widow mines. You can kind of float around the outside of it. Less about the Phoenix and a lot more about the potential liberators that could be very abusive on the map if used in the worst way possible. And we did see Optimus trying to use a lot of liberators.
It is... Oh, no. All right, 2 factories go down for Optimus. I was going to say, it looks a lot like last game with the Stargates coming down, but we do have the bio for Clem versus the mech of Optimus. And I was going to point out last game I would have much preferred mech from Optimus. The way that he was playing or being forced to play, because Clem kind of beat him to it, whichever one it was not great for Bio. He wasn't the one harassing and denying, and he wasn't even doing a great job, honestly, protecting. He wasn't always there guarding uThermal. So the mobility was just completely lost. But if you go mech, then you can place 5 tanks at every base, and that kind of covers you. Missile turrets too, I suppose. So I like that for the style they're playing a lot better, and I think that is superior as a late game composition as well. But, you know, I really thought they had a chance last game, and I was wrong about that, so.
By the way, before the fight begins, thank you, the Dow24 for the $3. Says for a soda. Is that the same thing as a pop?
No one says for a pop. You want pop,
yeah.
sure.
Can
For
you
a
get me a
pop?
pop?
Come on.
Yeah, can you get me a pop from the fridge?
Yeah. For a pop?
Yeah, here's a buck for a pop. Here's
That
a
just
buck
sounds
for
super
French
weird,
fries.
man.
Here's a buck for poutine. It doesn't sound weird.
What poutine is a puck? A buck. Puck.
Really bad poutine. Phoenixes are doing a really good job picking up these tanks. This lets Optimus just move on in. His tank count is really good.
Ooh.
This actually looks really bad for the Southern team, like almost game over bad.
Yeah, I think Denver and Clem were taking too much advantage of what they thought was going to be a super macro game. I mean, Clem's not even on Stim yet.
I hadn't even considered how the Phoenix lifting units up a lot of Vikings to shoot them too. That was kind of cool to see there for a brief moment. But yeah, this is a little abusive. The game is over. GG. We're going to game 3.
Nice.
We're going to Disneyland.
I wish. It's Harry Potter World in Disneyland. I still haven't gone.
What's Harry Potter?
The greatest book ever made.
Oh. Must have been a really good man who wrote it then.
That JK sure is a great man.
Yeah, J.K. Simmons or whatever, right? From the Spider-Man movies?
JK Simmons. Yeah.
All right, we're going to game 3. We'll not do an ad break here because we did just squeeze that one in, so kind of trying to dance around this. Somebody in chat earlier was asking why 2v2 tournaments? I ask you the counter question, why not? They're fun, they're different, and frankly, we have a fan, we'll call him a super fan, it's Brian, who put all this together. We haven't actually given him any shout outs today, so I'll link his stuff in a moment or two. But the coolest thing about it was like, hey, here's $500, make a 2v2 tournament. And of course, we spun that up. Now it's $1,000 plus, which is awesome. But his only message isn't to advertise some product. It's not like, hey, check out my website. It's like, hey, consider checking me out on Instagram, and also consider the importance of pet adoption, because it's a good way to get yourself a pet.
Indeed.
Also, I will note, now that we do have a fair amount of people joining us, granted, some of you from the front page don't really care what you're watching, you're just coming and going. But if you guys could help us out, there's a Matcherino page. If you type !Matcherino chat, you'll be provided with a link. If you go to this link and log into the top right with your Twitch ID, and use the promo code TIPPY, T-I-P-P-Y, you can add $1 to the prize pool for free. It won't cost you anything. It's not some $1 coupon code. It's literally $1 that the players can withdraw through PayPal at the end of the tournament. We've got about 100 or so codes left. That's about $100. You know, you always hear this on every stream, like what if every person tuning in just donated a dime, right? We'd have 100 or $2. We actually have that. We're literally $1 for free. All you gotta do is take 10 seconds of your time to like log in and type in that code and boost up that prize pool.
You know what you really need is that song in the background and pictures of really sad-looking players.
In the arms of the angel.
Just like, you know, slow, dramatic walking away as they lost to WCS. It'd be pretty perfect.
Hey, Zombie Up, if you go to any WCS events this year, might grab some pictures of players as they lose. That's stock footage for the background.
I don't know. I don't know. Seems unlikely.
Wait, Rifkin says coupon or coupon. It is a coupon. There's a U in there. It's not coupe like a car.
Coupon.
It's a coupon.
Coupon. You know what? That's a very weird word to say repeatedly. Coupon. It starts sounding like you're saying like poop. Wait, what is the mustard?
Your cat pooped on me. It's a poupon.
No, what is the fancy mustard? Is that
Dijon?
Gray poupon or whatever. Chat will know. Come on, back me up, chat.
Yeah,
I just remember watching I Love Grey Poupon, yeah.
I was saying, I'm too uncultured for this. I'm too poor to afford. I just get Heinz
Well-
mustard because that's all I can afford.
So, so no one actually, like, I feel like no one actually bought the damn thing. Or if they did, it wasn't because they felt fancy. It was because, yeah, their parents ate it or something, right? But, like,
me.
the way that they would advertise it, especially, like, in the 80s and the 90s, was they'd have a guy that has a butler in, like, a, you know, really fancy car, and they'd be driving side to side, and he'd be like, "Excuse me, sir, do you have any Grey Poupon?"
I don't think grapes make oupons, but I'll look into it. I gotta correct myself. I said Heinz. Apparently, it's French's mustard. I don't know why I went to grab this from the fridge. What's wrong with me?
Yeah, it's silly. Okay. There
Well,
we
we're in the lobby for Sludge City. Oh, perfect time. Let's hop into the game. I was watching, so I thought the story a little bit of the stream yesterday, right? I've been watching Teen Titans Go, and I thought I was gonna hate this. Like, it's so dumb and cartoony and kiddie. But I'm actually kind of digging it, and I don't know, dude. I have now watched a good 5 hours of Teen Titans Go. It is like the dumbest, kiddiest thing I've ever seen, and I watch some stupid shows.
Well, now you're just, I mean, you're keeping with the trend, I guess.
Are there any other cool kids in chat? Can I feel less alone on this? Anyone else watch Teen Titans Go? All right, we're getting into game number 3. Things are tied up 1-1, and this is the final match in the first series of the day. To the top left, we have the French team, comprised of Denver and his ally, Clem. Clenver.
In the bottom right, as the orange Terran, it is Optimus, and the teal Protoss uThermal.
I don't actually know. These guys actually do have team names. I can't. These guys had a weird one, like a Clem by another Clem or something was like their weird name.
Yeah, hidden by another or something. This is very weird.
Combine those names. It's right there. It's Clenver.
No, well, their real life names are both the same, so it was whatever their real name was. Anywho.
Some cool backstory, by the way, for those who don't know. Clem is an absolutely fantastic player. He's got his faults, and he's not winning a lot of tournaments right now, but he's so good at the game that I'm actually very impressed by him. And this has nothing to do with his age, but then the point about his age, the guy is like 6 or 7 months, not even like a year, but like months too young to play in the WCS system. Which is so heartbreaking, because this kid is better than most of the players you're going to see competing in WCS this year.
It'd be truly impressive if he was this good of a player and did well in school. I mean, I really want to know just how much he's practicing to also, well, be passing, I assume. Although I guess I don't know. For all I know, he could be failing or even not going to school. I don't know how long the French government mandates you have to attend public school.
Well, at any rate, poor Clem doesn't get to play WCS. Feels bad, man.
Yeah.
People chat asking why is uThermal playing Protoss? He chose to. I don't know, simple as that. There's no rules or regulations about it. Optimus and uThermal can play whatever they like. uThermal asked about race switching. We said no problem. So
Yep.
here he is as a Protoss Reno.
Well, you know, that first game was very turtly, but the next game, even though Optimus went for a mech, they still did a very well-timed push. Clem and Denver, I think, were just obviously not expecting it. They had nothing set up. They barely had any scouting once their little aggressive poke with the Reapers was dead. And, I mean, Clem didn't even have stim. So it was all types of bad. Now that, you know, there's that reminder, I suppose, that anything can happen. You gotta always be on the ball. This might just turn into another super long series. They both expand here.
Maybe not. Well, never mind. I mistook. Those are good links, not bad links. They will try and catch the Reaper. Not quite get it, but it's worth noting he has cut workers here. Denver, that is. Despite taking a third base, despite having that gold, it's speed and a lot of Zerglings right now.
Okay. Well, Denver could certainly provide a lot of aggression. It might be that type of aggression that just leads to a bunch of macro. I mean, Clem doesn't have too much going along here. Hellion Ling versus another Terran Zerg combination I think would be very impressive. But ideally, uThermal with Protoss would have something of a defensive setup with shield batteries and adepts. But by being aggressive here, just loses the units Did they really read into that? Did they really like say like that's too many lings? You got to start being worried. Soccer goes down.
It's a strange riddle in chat. Eatsy Teetsy Terra says, Rifkin, what's the child of your aunt to you? Jeff? I don't know. Are you trying to like get my secret password or something? Because I don't use that.
Oh, the force field is late. A lot of lings do slip in, but eventually I guess it'll be cleaned up. Even the probe pool to clean up with soccer.
This has got an okay amount of probes, but not really enough yet. Reminding everybody, of course, Denver has a very low worker count on his own back on the other side of the field. So this is really do or die or try and kill uThermal on all these probes. Hellions going to get over here as the probes will line up. Good force field to keep the Hellions at bay, but they're just going to go around the other way. And the Zerglings, of course, did their job too. And then the force field trapping in said probes. And that 18 worker count for Denver isn't looking so bad anymore.
Maybe. They're still trying to push in here. Probe's going to provide another wall once that sentry dies. This wall is going to be repaired. Now, Clem is following up these Hellions with also a Banshee because it's really not getting... I mean, if they're not going to break a wall, it's not complicated anymore, but they are breaking uThermal.
And they just go right over the wall, too. There's the tap out. No, she got uThermal. Ooh! Ah! The French team takes the victory. They're going to go on to the winners match. Well, they'll play against the winner of the next series coming up. Now, we got another... This is a very interesting dynamic to me. You have Hearthstone and Laser who have finished top in a lot of the 2v2 tournaments we've cast in the past and hosted in the past. But you've also got this dynamic of Practice X and Larry, who are two players we don't really know, but are pretty dedicated to the 2v2 scene. Larry had a really terrible partner back in the day. We won't speak of him. But he was pretty good himself, and he's carried through a lot of these 2v2 tournaments. Practice X was showing that he's not too bad either. So it is going to be kind of like a dedicated 2v2 team versus two pros playing a 2v2 team. It'll be interesting to see who comes out ahead. I think I got to give it to Hearthstone and a Laser just before we get into it, just because I know they are such good players and they are actually good at teaming up for these tournaments. But we will see as the games go down. They have already done the vetoes. Oh, these wonderful, magnificent bastards. So we're gonna hop to our commercial break, guys. It'll be just 2 minutes. Thank you for watching. People are saying the codes have been reported as all used up. That doesn't sound right, but if they are, that's great. Either way, we're gonna be back in a few minutes. So thanks for watching, and we'll see you in 2.